Namaskar. This is Akhilesh Bhargava. Welcome to Tit-Bits on Business and Finance with me. The company or the entity which was at the center of the giant IFIN group fraud was its financial services subsidiary called IFIN. IFIN was the foundation or the bedrock on the basis of which this entire fraud was created, generated, and perpetrated for years together. IFIN managed to do that on the basis of bogus and fake financial statements, which were, of course, audited. And these financial statements were fake and bogus for years together. And that is how the fraud got perpetrated. They hid the truth, they hid the scammy truth, and they showed a rosy picture which was never there. It was for this reason that the NFRA, the National Financial Reporting Authority of India, held BSR and Company, a KPMG affiliate, to be guilty of serious professional misconduct in its role as a statutory auditor of IFIN for the financial year 2017-18. NFRA happens to be India's independent regulator of the audit profession. It was set up in 2018, according to us, because of the failure of the Institute of Chartered Accountants to discipline its own erring members. And the NFRA has got the authority to penalize, punish, and debar any auditor or audit firm which is guilty of professional misconduct. Just as the NFRA held BSR and Company to be guilty of professional misconduct, it also recently said that Deloitte, which also happened to be the statutory auditor of IFIN for that year, to be guilty of professional misconduct in a similar manner. The NFRA says that the very appointment of Deloitte as the statutory auditor of IFIN for the financial year 2017-18 was invalid. It was void ab initio because, according to the NFRA, Deloitte was not at all even eligible to be appointed as the auditor of the company. And despite that, IFIN appointed as the auditor, and Deloitte even accepted that appointment. The reason that, according to NFRA, Deloitte was not eligible to be appointed as the auditor of IFIN is because it was rendering non-audit services, management services to other companies of the ILFS group, other subsidiaries of ILFS, and also associate firms of ILFS, which is not permitted under the Companies Act. Thus, according to the NFRA, the appointment violated the provisions of the Companies Act. It was invalid. And according to us, if the appointment itself was invalid, then so was the audit report which was illegally issued by Deloitte. NFRA further says that Deloitte failed to even adhere to the mandatory auditing standards in the process of conducting the audit of IFIN. And it says that it had no justification whatsoever even for issuing such a clean audit report for IFIN. The audit report that was issued by Deloitte was a clean report. It had virtually no qualifications in order to raise the eyebrows. And interestingly, it was signed by the managing partner of Deloitte, Mr. Udayan Sen, who also has been held guilty of this kind of misconduct. The question then arises is that for a firm like Deloitte, which happens to be perhaps the largest audit firm in the world, which has a worldwide turnover of over $30 billion, which employs over 3 lakh persons. In India, it employs more than 55,000 persons. It has no shortage of expertise. It has no shortage of experience. It has no shortage of skills. It has no shortage of resources. And despite that, why did it commit such a serious misconduct? Why was it willing to violate the law? Why did it take up an assignment where it was not even qualified to be appointed to be doing the role it was appointed for? The answer to this question lies in the fact that the ILFS group used to pay a sum of 20 crores a year for years together to Deloitte in order to manage its group audits. Manage its group audits meant issuing bogus audit reports, signing bogus financial statements, signing financial statements that were clearly false, and they did it very willingly. They did it for sheer greed, for that huge 20 crores a year that was paid by the ILFS group to Deloitte. And who signed those audit reports? It was Udayan Sen, the managing partner of Deloitte himself. These kind of incidents always point to a larger picture. And what is the larger picture here? The larger picture here is that while the entire system was found to be infected with scams and frauds in India, if there was one agency which could have stopped them, If there was one agency which could have prevented those kind of scams and frauds, then it was the statutory auditors. The statutory auditors could have prevented these kind of frauds by reporting them, by not signing bogus balance sheets and fake audit reports, or by at least resigning so that eyebrows were raised, red flags were raised, and questions were asked, why has the auditor resigned? That might have put a check on the management on its own itself. The auditors had enough powers to resign, they had enough powers to report the truth, but they decided to do otherwise. They decided to do otherwise for sheer greed, for sheer love of money, for sheer avarice, and for sheer ambitions of the partners of those firms. They also did that with the comfort that they were not alone in the game. They knew that in this scam, all the biggies were involved. They were party to the fraud together. And that gave them the comfort also that perhaps they are not going to be caught. It was a situation, as they say, hamam mein sab nange the, and they did not mind being naked in it together. And so they were very willingly and deliberately willing to compromise their professional integrity, their professional independence, and do what the management of ILFS wanted them to do, which is sign bogus audited financial statements, bogus reports. The auditors thus in the process became watchdogs who did not bark, and in the process, all the scams continued to fester. They betrayed the interests of all those who expected them to protect their interests, which is the ordinary shareholders, the lenders, and all those who dealt with the company and gave them money. It is the auditors who could have prevented all this, but it is they who betrayed their entire interests, who compromised their integrity. And the bigger the audit firm, the bigger was their client, the bigger was the crime that they committed, the bigger was the size of the fraud, and of course, the bigger was the greed involved for everybody. We saw this happen in ILFS, we saw it in IFIN, we saw it in DHFL, Yes Bank, Jet Airways, and so many other entities where such kind of frauds have taken place. This misconduct of the auditors destabilized the entire banking, financial, and corporate system of India, and we are, according to us, yet to recover from it. This collusion by the auditors led to a lot of toxic effects. It led to a lot of adversities, and it has impacted the economy. The first one was because of bogus audited financial statements, corporates were able to merrily violate corporate capital market, banking, and taxation laws. By doing that, they managed to evade taxes, they managed to commit financial crimes, they managed to indulge in money laundering, frauds, siphoning money from the companies, and all those kind of financial crimes that took place. It resulted in the cheating of the public, it resulted in cheating of lenders, it resulted in cheating of bankers, all because financial statements were bogus and they hid the reality. It is because of this that trust of the public in the system has been eroded. Capital formation in the country suffered. Because of this, further, the government has tended to make laws which are complicated, which are complex, because the government has not been trusting the system. And the cost of compliance for corporates has shot up. Because of these kind of frauds committed by the big audit firms, the big corporates became bigger. They managed to garner away all the financial resources from the system in a scammy manner. And of course, the smaller ones suffered. This role of auditors, this kind of a dubious role of auditors, also helped others to be fraudulent. Because of this kind of a willingness of the auditors to collude, even the independent directors of companies were willing to collude. And it helped everybody to be into the game together, in the game of committing financial crimes. This is the large picture that emerges. The question then comes is, what is the solution to this? Because it is not just in India that auditors have participated in these kind of crimes. It has been a worldwide phenomena. And according to us, the solution lies in two primary initiatives to be done. The first is we need to clarify the role of the auditors in a more precise manner. Asking the auditor to certify a statement as true and fair actually comes in a vague area. You can know what is true perhaps, but you really can't know what is fair, because that happens to be a very subjective opinion. Thus, we need to define the role of the auditor in a more precise manner such that the ambiguity and vagueness in it is removed. The second thing that we need to then do is punish all those who have violated the laws, particularly in a very deliberate and willing manner. You have to punish auditors if they very willingly stated figures, facts and figures. They indulge in factual misrepresentation in a very conscious manner. You should not spare them. They should be punished in a very stringent manner. But when it comes to giving an opinion, if an auditor has given an opinion which is bona fide, you may disagree with it, but if it is a bona fide opinion, then he doesn't need to be punished. Maybe he needs to be educated further, but a bona fide opinion cannot be punished. But a malified opinion also should be punished in a very stringent manner. So the solution lies in punishment. The solution lies in ensuring that all those who have indulged in factual misrepresentation in financial statements are certainly not spared. And if that is done, some kind of an improvement will rapidly take place in the kind of audit reports that are being issued. And while you punish the auditors, also punish the scammy promoters, also punish the independent directors, also punish the directors, also punish the rating agencies, because as we said, they were into this scammy game together. And that was so in the case of IFIN also. This is Akhilesh Bhargava signing off till we meet again. Namaskar.
Now be the first to know about the latest updates on our new news app. Go on your Android or iOS, search for HW News Network. Download our app, choose the language you prefer to get updates in, and be up to date with the latest news.
If you like this video, please share it, and we would love to hear your comments in the comments section down here. Also, please do like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter to get minute-to-minute news updates. For more such shows and videos, well, subscribe to our YouTube channel.